Welcome to Celestial Chronicles, where we explore the fascinating connections between the Bible and the world around us. Today, we're diving into 10 scientific facts found in the Bible. Let's start right away with number 10. 10 mathematical patterns. Did you know that some people believe the Bible has hidden mathematical patterns? For example, certain numbers or sequences of numbers in the Bible are thought to have special meanings. These patterns are not just random, many think they show a deeper, symbolic significance. For instance, the number 7 often represents completeness or perfection in the Bible, like in the 7 days of creation. Another example is the number 40, which appears in stories like Noah's flood lasting 40 days and nights, and Jesus fasting in the desert for 40 days. Some even believe that if you add up certain letters or words in the Bible, you get important numbers with hidden meanings. These ideas are not proven by science and are open to interpretation. But it's fascinating to consider if these patterns are coincidences or if they were intentionally placed there. What do you think? Are these numbers just interesting details, or do they reveal something deeper about the Bible? 9. Human anatomy. Psalm 139 verses 13 to 16 beautifully describes how God forms individuals in the womb, saying, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb." This passage highlights the incredible journey of human development and is often seen as a powerful acknowledgement of how life begins and grows. While it doesn't provide scientific details about embryology, it reflects a deep understanding of the process of human formation. The psalmist marvels at the complexity and wonder of our creation, suggesting that every detail of our bodies is carefully crafted by God. In ancient times, people didn't have the advanced scientific knowledge we have today about cells, DNA, or the stages of pregnancy. However, this passage shows a profound appreciation for the miracle of life itself. The imagery of being knit together suggests a careful and intentional process, almost like an artist creating a masterpiece. This poetic language captures the beauty and intricacy of human development. It's amazing to think that these ancient writers could express such deep insights about human anatomy and development without modern science. They observed the world around them and reflected on the mysteries of life, creating powerful messages that resonate even today. Their words invite us to appreciate the wonder of our existence and the unique journey each person goes through from conception to birth. This passage encourages us to consider the value and significance of every individual life. It reminds us that we are not just random beings, but part of a greater plan. Have you ever wondered how these early writers could express such a sophisticated understanding of human life? Their ability to capture such profound truths about our existence is truly remarkable. What are your thoughts on this connection between ancient texts and our understanding of human anatomy today? It's fascinating to explore how these messages continue to inspire and provoke thought in our modern world. 8. Genetics. In Genesis 30 verses 37 to 39, there's a fascinating story about Jacob and his sheep. Jacob wanted to have more spotted and speckled sheep in his flock, so he decided to use some clever methods to make this happen. He placed striped branches in front of the sheep while they were mating, believing that this would somehow influence the traits of the baby sheep. This story illustrates an early understanding of selective breeding, which is a way to influence the characteristics of animals. In many ways, it can be seen as a simple form of genetic manipulation. Selective breeding is the practice of choosing specific animals with desired traits to produce the next generation. Jacob's method shows that he was trying to control the outcome of his flock, even though he didn't have the scientific knowledge we have today. He was observing patterns in nature and experimenting with them, which is the essence of scientific inquiry. Today, we understand a lot more about genetics and how traits are passed from parents to offspring through genes. Scientists study DNA to learn how certain characteristics, like color or size, are inherited. It's intriguing to realize that even thousands of years ago, people like Jacob were beginning to explore these ideas in their own way. This shows a natural curiosity and understanding of the world around them. Jacob's story raises important questions about the connection between ancient practices and modern science. Did he realize that by using those branches, he was influencing the genetics of his sheep? This story suggests that early people were not just passive observers of nature, they were actively engaging with it and trying to improve their livestock. Do you think these stories indicate an early form of scientific knowledge about genetics? It's fascinating to see how the Bible touches on concepts that relate to what we now understand as genetics. How do you feel about this connection between ancient practices and modern scientific ideas? 7. Geological references. The Bible contains many descriptions of geological events like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and floods. One of the most famous is the Great Flood in Genesis, where it says the whole earth was covered in water. This story is often seen as a significant geological event. Some people believe these descriptions match up with our understanding of how the earth works. For example, the Bible talks about earthquakes shaking the ground and mountains melting like wax. These could be references to actual natural events like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It's amazing to think that ancient texts might describe real geological processes. Have you noticed any other natural events in the Bible that seem to align with what we know from modern science? What other geological events mentioned in the Bible come to mind? Share your thoughts in the chat. 6. Astronomy. Psalm 19 verse 1 beautifully states, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands." This verse captures a sense of wonder at the beauty and order of the natural world, including the sun, moon, and stars. It shows how the Bible recognizes the amazing complexity of the universe. While it talks about these celestial bodies, it focuses more on the awe of creation rather than providing detailed scientific explanations. Throughout the Bible, there are many mentions of the stars shining in the night sky, the changing phases of the moon, and the sun's journey across the sky. These references indicate that people in ancient times were not only aware of these celestial bodies but also had a deep appreciation for them. They viewed the heavens as a way to understand God's power and majesty, seeing the universe as a reflection of divine creation. Ancient cultures often used the stars for navigation and to mark the changing seasons. They observed the patterns in the night sky and understood the importance of celestial events for agriculture and daily life. This knowledge helped them feel connected to the larger universe around them. It's fascinating to think about how these early observations laid the groundwork for later scientific discoveries in astronomy. Isn't it incredible that ancient texts can express such a profound appreciation for the stars and planets? This connection to the universe shows how deeply they felt about the world and their place in it. The Bible encourages readers to look up at the skies and reflect on the beauty of creation. What other celestial references in the Bible do you find intriguing? Do you think these ancient writers had a strong connection to the cosmos? Share your thoughts in the chat. 5. Conservation of mass and energy. Colossians 1 verse 17 says, "In him all things hold together." Some people believe this verse hints at the concept of the conservation of mass and energy. This scientific principle states that mass and energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed from one form to another. Think about it, this idea that everything in the universe is held together and conserved aligns with what scientists understand today. The verse suggests that there is a sustaining force keeping everything in place, which some people see as a connection to modern science. It's interesting to see how ancient texts can reflect ideas that resonate with scientific principles discovered much later. Do you think there's a link between this Bible passage and the science of conservation? How do you interpret this verse? For antibacterial practices. In the book of Leviticus, there are detailed instructions for isolating people with contagious diseases to prevent the spread of illness. These guidelines are a form of quarantine, much like what we do today to stop infections from spreading. For instance, if someone had a skin disease, they were required to live alone outside the camp until they were healed. This practice helped protect the community by reducing the risk of the disease spreading to others. Leviticus also includes important rules about hygiene. For example, it provides guidelines for washing hands and clothes to maintain cleanliness. People were instructed to clean themselves regularly to prevent the spread of germs. If items could not be cleaned, they were to be burned to ensure that any potential contamination was eliminated. These practices show a strong understanding of the importance of cleanliness, which is crucial in preventing illness. What's fascinating is how these ancient practices resemble modern hygiene and sanitation methods aimed at reducing the spread of germs and bacteria. Today, we know how important it is to wash our hands, especially during outbreaks of illness. The instructions found in Leviticus demonstrate an early awareness of the need for personal and community hygiene long before modern science confirmed its importance. These guidelines show that ancient people were not only concerned about their health, but also about the well-being of their community. They understood that keeping the camp clean and safe was essential for everyone's health. This mindset is very much in line with today's public health practices, where the focus is on protecting the community as a whole. Do you think these old methods were ahead of their time? It's incredible to see how these ancient rules laid the groundwork for many of the health guidelines we follow today. What other ancient health practices from the Bible do you think are still relevant in our lives? 3. Water cycle. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 7 gives a clear picture of the water cycle. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. This verse reflects an early understanding of how water moves through the environment. It explains the journey of water as it flows into the sea, evaporates into the air, forms clouds, and then falls back to earth as rain. After it rains, the water eventually flows back into rivers and streams, continuing the cycle. It's fascinating to realize that ancient people could observe and describe such a complex natural process without the tools and science we have today. They noticed how water constantly circulates around the planet, moving from land to sea and back again. This understanding shows their deep connection to nature and the world around them. The water cycle is essential for life on Earth, influencing weather patterns, agriculture, and ecosystems. By recognizing this cycle, ancient cultures could better understand their environment and its resources. It's amazing how this ancient knowledge still holds true in our modern understanding of science. Have you ever thought about how ancient people figured out these natural processes? What other natural events or phenomena do you think they understood well, like the changing seasons or the growth of plants? 2. Earth's sphericity. Isaiah 40 verse 22 mentions, "He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth." The Hebrew word kug used here can mean circle or sphere. This suggests that people in ancient times may have had an early recognition of the Earth's spherical shape. Even though this verse doesn't give specific details about the Earth's shape or its place in the solar system, it provides a fascinating insight. Back then, many cultures believed the Earth was flat, so a reference to a circular or spherical Earth is quite remarkable. It makes you wonder how ancient people perceived the world around them and how they figured out such things without the technology we have today. How do you think ancient cultures understood the shape of the Earth? Do you think they had other ways of knowing about the Earth's form? 1. Creation of the universe, Big Bang Theory. In the book of Genesis, the Bible describes how God created the universe in a series of days. This creation story is significant and has captured the imagination of many people for centuries. Interestingly, some see a connection between this biblical account and the Big Bang Theory, which is the scientific explanation for how the universe began. According to the Big Bang Theory, the universe started as a tiny, incredibly dense point called a singularity. This point contained all the energy and matter of the universe, and then, about 13.8 billion years ago, it suddenly expanded. This rapid expansion led to the formation of everything we see today: galaxies, stars, planets, and even us. The idea of such a dramatic beginning of the universe is similar to how Genesis describes God creating everything out of nothing in just a few days. While the Bible's account uses symbolic and poetic language to convey its message, the concept of a single moment marking the start of everything aligns with modern scientific ideas. Both narratives emphasize a powerful beginning, whether it's God speaking the universe into existence or the explosion that sparked the cosmos. This connection raises fascinating questions about how ancient people understood their world and how their beliefs compare to our current scientific understanding. It's remarkable to think that an ancient religious text and a modern scientific theory can share such similarities. This doesn't mean that the Bible is a scientific textbook, but it shows that there can be a dialogue between faith and science. Additionally, the creation story in Genesis highlights themes of order and purpose in the universe, which many people still find relevant today. It encourages us to reflect on the beauty and complexity of the world around us. What do you think about this connection between the biblical creation account and the Big Bang Theory? Do you see any other parallels between ancient texts and scientific ideas? It's interesting to explore how different cultures and beliefs try to understand the origins of the universe. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the scientific facts found in the Bible. We hope you found this exploration both enlightening and thought-provoking. Don't forget to subscribe to Celestial Chronicles for more fascinating content. Share your thoughts and questions in the chat, and let's continue this intriguing discussion together.